The Apple TV rumor trap is simple. We take every good rumor, stack them together, and imagine one perfect device. But a cheaper Apple TV, a faster model, and a smarter one might not be the same product. That distinction is the entire decision. It changes whether you should buy the current Apple TV 4K now, or wait for a redesign. The best place to start is Apple's current behavior. Right now, they already split the lineup by value. You have a 64 gigabytes Wi-Fi model and a 128 gigabyte version that adds Ethernet and Thread. This is a vital clue. It shows that Apple does not treat every living room buyer the same way. Some people just want a stable streamer, while others want a reliable smart home hub. Apple already knows this and prices the hardware accordingly. That's why I'm fairly confident we shouldn't read the 2026 rumors as one giant upgrade list. It looks much more like a split strategy. Think about the rumors people want to believe all at once. They want a price under $100, an A17 Pro chip, and a built-in camera. In the real world, those features pull the product in opposite directions. The big question is what Apple is actually trying to optimize. Pushing the price down leads to one kind of device. Adding power for gaming and a longer software life leads to another. If the goal is communication or room awareness, that leads to a third path entirely. The current lineup already hints at this split. Apple is comfortable hiding meaningful features behind a more expensive version. Ethernet and Thread aren't flashy, but they change who the product is for. These features are for power users who treat the Apple TV as a smart home foundation. This gives Apple a template for the future. The next Apple TV doesn't have to be one hero device. It could be a value box for everyone, and a premium hub for the ecosystem. Let's look at the first path, the value box. This is what people mean when they hope for a price under $100. That rumor has real appeal because Apple TV has always looked expensive next to cheap competitors. There's a strong argument for Apple to get aggressive on the entry price. I'm somewhat confident we'll see this value-oriented model. If it happens, the priorities will be efficient streaming and a fast interface. You shouldn't expect dream specs from this version. A cheaper Apple TV can be newer without being fully loaded. If a budget model arrives, it changes who considers a product. But you should immediately lower your expectations for a high-end experience on that specific device. The second path is a premium smart home box. This is a classic Apple move. They could keep an affordable entry model, then preserve a high-end version for power users. This model would offer better networking, more storage, and more processing headroom. This is where the more expensive rumors actually make sense. Those high-end ideas need a higher profit margin and a reason to exist. A price under $100 sounds great, but you have to ask what you're giving up to get it. That is a part rumor roundups usually skip. Price is not a magic trick. If Apple gets aggressive on cost, something has to give. The hardware has to become simpler, smaller, or more limited. That might mean less performance headroom or fewer smart home features. It could also mean cutting the expensive communication tech that sounds exciting in a leak but doesn't belong in a budget box. That is why I'm very careful about combining a sub-$100 price, an A17 Pro chip, and a camera into one inevitable product. I'm somewhat confident Apple could put a stronger chip in the next model. It makes sense for gaming and a longer software life. That would have a high impact on how the box feels, even if you never think about the chip again. But the moment you combine that power with a low price and a built-in camera, the story is much harder to believe. This leads to the third path, the communication-focused box. This is where the camera rumors actually matter, but we need to slow down. Conceptually, a camera makes sense. The TV is the biggest screen in the house, and FaceTime is already a focus for Apple. If they want the living room to be more connected, awareness features are a natural step. But there's a massive difference between an idea fitting a category and a feature shipping in the cheapest model. The idea of a camera is not random, but that doesn't mean it lands in the entry-level Apple TV. It is a feature most likely to be reserved for a premium version. A camera changes the cost, the design, and how people view their privacy. It turns a clean streaming box into a much more opinionated piece of hardware. That makes sense for a high-end SKU. It makes very little sense for a version meant to bring in new users at a low price. I'm not very confident about a built-in camera in the cheapest next-gen Apple TV. It's a high-impact rumor, but that's exactly why it gets overplayed during rumor season. I'm more open to a camera strategy elsewhere in the home lineup, perhaps as a premium or separate product. But if Apple pushes hard on price, the camera is the first thing I expect them to cut. As a buyer, you have to keep that trade-off in view. If you need an Apple TV now for smart home reliability, the current 128 gigabytes model is still a very rational buy on a discount. It is a stable, well-understood product. If you are waiting for a lower price, that's reasonable. Just keep your expectations in check. Don't wait for a budget box that also includes every premium feature. If you're waiting specifically for the camera, be the most cautious. That is the hardest feature to fit into a low-cost model. A cheaper Apple TV is plausible. A more powerful one is plausible. But one device that does all of that for under $100 is the part one would treat carefully. I'm somewhat confident in this trade-off thesis. It changes how you should read every new rumor from this point forward. The decision is clear. Buy the current high-end model on a deal if you need performance now. Wait only if your main goal is a lower entry price. What would change my mind? Evidence of a single model refresh instead of a split lineup, or proof that the camera is a standard feature rather than a premium option. Until then, remember, Apple has to choose what kind of Apple TV it wants to prioritize.